You're just trying to watch the movie here? Oh, yeah. Fuck you, dude. Fucking bro. Oh, yeah. Go, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, let's get a fucking light beer after this, you fucking tool. Asshole.
Brunch.
Hit it, boys. Who's bringing the Bruntouchables, the Paddington Talk?
It's RX Bar.
Ooh!
We want to get right into this 60 minutes
Do
of
the
Paddington
read.
Talk.
No, you got to do the, like, it's RX Bar.
You're not
Are
helping.
you feeling
I
frumpy
was
when
gonna
you're
do
eating
it.
other bars?
You're
No.
not helping. I was going to go right into it.
But no, you podcasted for a minute.
Let me do my fucking thing.
You podcasted. Go.
All right. Today's episode.
Start again. Who's bringing the Bruntouchables, the Paddington Talk?
RX Bar, which, if you're wondering, is a whole food protein bar. What does that mean? The bars are made with 100% whole ingredients. They want to be transparent and upfront with their customers, which is why they label the core ingredients, egg whites, dates, and nuts, on the front of the package, and the ingredients that make up the texture and taste on the back. Beyond being a go-to snack that checks off a number of nutritional boxes, RX Bars actually taste delicious. RX Bars come in 11 different delicious flavors, so whether you like sweet or savory, chocolate or fruit flavors, there's an RX Bar for you. RX Bars are gluten-free, soy-free, dairy-free, and have no added sugar, artificial colors, artificial flavors, preservatives, or fillers.
Jeez.
Woo! My favorite is probably the chocolate sea salt, and I know DJ loves his peanut butter ones for that paleo diet that he's definitely going to quit in like a week.
In like 4 minutes.
For our listeners, you can get 25% off your first order by visiting rxbar.com/brunch and entering promo code BRUNCH at checkout. That's 25% off your first order of RX Bars by visiting rxbar.com/brunch and entering promo code BRUNCH at checkout. All right, let's get to the Paddington Talk.
RX Bars, it's nuts. And dates. And egg whites.
And no artificial flavors.
No artificial. There are some sugars, but they're natural sugars.
Are we
it's
auditioning
okay.
for like
Relax.
RX Bar commercials right now?
Yes, and if you could see the stances that we're jumping into.
Kung Fu? I don't know why there's like Kung
RX
Fu.
Bars.
Eat them and you'll be an
Take a
expert
bite.
at Kung Fu.
Take a bite out of life. Okay, so
All right,
this
that's
is
like
why
2
this
minutes
Paddington,
that
now that we've
we wasted.
Yeah. So this is why this Paddington episode is going to be great. A, because it's going to be a full hour of Paddington talk, but B, because on the way over here, I thought of the best idea ever, which is this isn't just going to be a Paddington episode. It's going to be an episode about how we're doing a Paddington episode. That's pretty exciting stuff. So right now, I was thinking we could lay down some little teases for more Paddington talk that when we're editing the episode, we can drop in. So for example, like, you can say that again, Pete. More Paddington talk starts now.
Yeah, it's like after this break, more Paddington talk.
Right, yeah. After a brief moment of podcast identification, we'll get back into the Paddington talk on brunch.
Yes. I love that idea, actually. That's a great idea.
So if it takes us a few seconds to think of them, that's fine. The only one I thought of was, you can say that again, more Paddington talk starts now. And we've got to do it in these very voiceover.
Radio.
Yeah, because I don't want it to be confusing. If you say a little joke and then it sounds like I'm saying, you can say that again, Pete, and then people are like, wait, what's going on here?
We'll circle back to that later, but we got to take a quick little break, and then when we come back, more Paddington talk. So stay with us, folks.
Having a bear of a time? More Paddington talk up next. You're listening to Pete and the Dave. Every morning, Monday through Friday. No frumpy talk, but Paddington talk. Now we're just doing liners, which I think is a little
great.
Okay. Hey, this isn't Paddington, but it is Paddington talk.
Can't bear to stand another work week? More Paddington talk on the way.
Put down that pop-up book. More Paddington talk starts now. I, Hugh, grant you one wish. More Paddington talk. That was sweet like marmalade. More Paddington talk starts now.
You always have the exact same one. More Paddington talk.
Yeah. It's next. Ooh, let's run back that Paddington talk. And that'll be when we if we have like a nice little like banter or something and a little volley, we'll just replay that segment.
Let's get into actual Paddington talk. Are you good?
Yeah, but I feel like if we think of more, we
can
should
do 'em
just drop
on the fly.
them in. Yeah. So you saw Paddington 2. You loved it,
I
and
absolutely loved
because
it.
you had seen Paddington, you'd seen Wind River and loved it, and I was like, I'll see it later.
Two wildly different
Yeah,
movies.
I was
they're
like,
linked.
maybe I ought to start listening to
My
Pete's,
recommendations.
yeah, like because you knocked it out of the park on Wind River,
Right.
So I went to see Paddington 2, and someone is 2 for 2 because I love that movie as well.
Yeah, baby.
That was great.
There's not a lot of movies that I like. We watch movies all the time. There's
Yeah.
not a lot of movies where I get out of the theater and I'm like, all right, I gotta fucking tell everybody
must,
that
yeah.
I know that they have to see that movie, especially when like that movie is already getting a shitload of hype because Paddington 2 is getting a shitload of hype.
100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Even that fucking guy, the guy who shat on Get Out, that was like, "Oh, I don't get it. Someone's got to be the one who hates it."
I know there's always
Even that guy.
there's always like the
Paddington 2,
counterculture
That shit
person
don't miss. Yeah.
that just like wants attention, so they give it a shitty review. Even those people were like, fuck, that movie's too good.
After further review, let's get back into the Paddington talk.
So yeah, what did you think?
I loved it. I thought that it was just aesthetically a great movie,
Yeah.
but they didn't overdo it. There were a few shots where, like when he's got the soot in his face and he wipes it off, that looks really cool to the eye. There are a lot of scenes where like the graphics were just, the visuals were just amazing.
There's so much London porn.
But they no, I'm saying like with like the hair of the bear and like
okay,
all the computer shit. But they were smart enough to not overdo it. It was for sure London porn. It was. Yeah.
The first one was too. So I went back and I watched the first one. That's how much I like. So I went into Paddington 2 blind.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even. Well, first
No
of
one
all,
had
like
spoiled it for you,
I didn't realize that Paddington 1 existed until Paddington 2 came out.
and all these motherfuckers were talking about Paddington 2 left and right. And you're
Well,
like,
it wasn't even that. Like I'd seen Paddington 2 trailers and I was like, well, this movie looks like a fucking joke. Was there even a Paddington 1? So it just looked like a shitty kids movie.
So you
from the
thought going
trailers.
into it was going to be bad?
Well, because
I was gonna say you
I knew
must
like
have
there
seen
was
it for a
some
reason.
buzz.
Oh, right.
Remember I told you
Right.
that like there was some buzz, but I didn't
Streets
fully
was talking
dive in
about Paddington.
Yeah, so when I saw the trailer initially, I was like, that looks like a shitty kids movie, and I didn't even remember the first one. But I guess I was ignorant because that's like a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Let's first talk about Paddington. Everyone knows that Paddington Bear is a thing. I don't think anyone fucking knew anything more than that. Like, I don't know if it was books. I don't know if it was a fucking TV show, what it was. I could have properly guessed that it was set in London because who the fuck is named Paddington?
No, the whole thing is London porn, from the shots to all the names.
Which actually is probably
Phoenix
better than
Buchanan?
actual porn from London, I would imagine.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And nobody wants
I would
to watch
much rather watch
British
that.
porn.
Although, if Sally Hawkins, is she British?
Oh, I think so. Like, I don't think they would cast anybody in this movie who's not
Because
British.
Shape of Water then might be...
Except for, what's his name? Gleason? He's Irish, right?
Donald Gleason? Yeah, was he in Paddington?
No, his
or was he in
father.
the first one?
His father's in
Oh,
he's
the
Chef
haircut.
Knuckles.
Oh, he is?
Yeah,
what's
that's
that
Donald
guy's-
Gleason's
what's that
dad.
guy's name?
James Gleason or something?
Is he...
He's famous. He plays Mad Eye Moody in the Harry Potter movies.
Oh, Jesus. I don't even know what you just said.
Brendan Gleeson.
Oh, I've heard that name before.
That's Donald Gleason's dad.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure they're Irish.
They are.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I was wrong. They only cast people from Europe in this.
I don't know if they are Irish. He plays an Irish guy in
Irish.
Brooklyn. Okay.
Yeah.
Because he plays a British guy in About Time. You got to see About Time. That movie's so good. Yeah, I thought it was terrific. Let's talk about things that we liked about it. The running thing with the haircut client / judge never got old. And it could have.
That was
It's a nice little rivalry those two had.
that, and also like just the barbershop scene was.
Oh, yeah.
That was like the turning point for me, where I was like, I'm gonna fucking enjoy the shit out of this movie. As soon as he turned on the clippers and did the the bouncing vibrations, and like the Paddington's face was just like in complete shock, I literally laughed out loud for about 5 minutes.
Now, listeners, in case you haven't seen Paddington 2, Paddington is doing a little work. He's sweeping up around a barbershop, and he's the only person in the shop at the moment. A customer walks in, demands that a bear who tells him, I am not a barber, give him a haircut, sits down, immediately falls asleep, which is a thing that apparently people do at a barbershop after they've entrusted a bear who has told them, I am not a barber, to cut their hair.
If there's one thing that I have to criticize about the Paddington world and series, there's just not enough people being surprised that a talking bear is living amongst humans in the world of London.
We'll get to that for sure. So Paddington cuts his hair, does a bad job, isn't a barber, don't know what the fuck you could have expected. He's a fucking bear, and he goes all around the store. It's a very whimsical thing. Another scene where just everything digitally looked great. But so this guy who walks in, falls asleep, demands a bear cut his hair. He's a fucking judge? Yes. He's like the guy who makes the important decisions.
Right.
And he doesn't know how to get a fucking haircut.
That guy's judgment in the barbershop is from a judge.
Right.
Which is not the person that you want presiding over your case, which comes back later because clearly isn't great at his job.
Paddington gives him a reverse mohawk. He gives him a basically a very wide whatever the guy from Alien Ant Farm had. Remember that thing? The guy from Alien Ant Farm, he had like a wiffle, and then he had like a thin stripe shaved into his
racing
head.
Stripe.
Yeah, one year I did that for a school photo in middle school. My mom
gotten laid, man.
hates me presently. Yeah, and when Paddington fucks up, because he's a bear who doesn't know how to cut hair, takes a handful of marmalade and just puts it on the guy's head, and he's like, ugh, maybe you won't know the difference.
Like literally every solution in in both of these movies is just, hey, how about some marmalade?
Yeah.
The Paddington series is marmalade propaganda.
You can say that again, Pete. More Paddington talk starts now. So I just said before that no one actually knows what the story is with Paddington. And what the story is he's just a bear who was adopted by a family, and he hangs out with them. It's basically Family Guy before Family Guy, I think. And he talks, and everyone thinks it's perfectly normal.
I would say
that he's there.
it more lines up with American Dad, because you know how in American Dad there's like the weird fucking alien thing that lives in the attic.
Did anyone watch that show?
No, but I've seen trailers, and I know that there's a weird fucking alien thing that lives in the attic. I think that's more appropriate.
Yeah, but because some people have dogs. This is in Family Guy. It's that the dog happens to talk.
Oh, that's true.
And is an alcoholic. And
I guess if you consider
novels.
that Paddington is Brian.
Yes, right.
Okay.
So you raised the point of people being way too okay and just like used to there being a bear there. My favorite part of the movie was Hugh Grant is the bad guy.
I told you that was going to be your favorite thing.
No, it wasn't. No. He was, but. Somebody breaks into a store and steals a pop-up book, and it's very mysterious who did it, except it was obviously Hugh Grant. You learn 3 to 4 minutes later, it was, of course, Hugh Grant. And when Paddington sees him breaking in, he chases after him. Someone sees him, and then they're calling the cops, and there's a policewoman on her radio, and she says, someone's broke into the whatever store. Suspect is... is like a 3'3" bear with blah blah. If you know that a bear lives in the town, if any crime happens at all, suspect is probably the bear,
right? And also,
he's like one of the top 3, no matter what happens.
But
even if you didn't see it,
I know. But in that scene, she radios like, "Hey, it's a 3'6" bear wearing a coat and a red hat," and
didn't need to specify. He's the bear.
But nobody on the radio was like. What? Say again?
Hold on, you said there was a fucking bear?
She's way too accepting.
Are you okay? No, but everybody knows that it's him. So what she should have said was like,
hey, it's Paddington.
Suspect is that fucking Paddington. Bear that's living with those crazies. That family, by the way, is one of those people where the neighbors talk about them on the news, and they say, we never saw him. They were always just going right into the house.
Oh,
they were
like after a crime.
Yeah, we never got to know them. It's a very friendly neighborhood.
They were very mysterious.
Yeah,
they kept to themselves.
We had no reason to think that they were up to something, but they were just always very quiet. I said to one day they were walking in, and I said, "Hey, happy birthday!" And they just looked back at me, didn't say anything back, and they went right in. It was a very odd thing, but again, how was I to know that they were criminals? They had a bear with them. I should have known that.
The street that they live on, by the way, is amazing. It's fantastic.
Yes.
It's like basically brownstones, but they're all like different colored pastels.
Ooh, yeah.
And in like a winding road thing, it's awesome.
Everything and we'll also get to the close of one Hugh Grant, but everything and everyone looked amazing in that movie. Speaking of the street, there's a scene after Paddington is incarcerated and does hard time with the nicest prisoners that were ever born, just fucking sweethearts.
Not right off the bat.
After he's broken out, well, they're rough around the edges.
Yes. When like he went to prison, I thought to myself, I was like, man, this movie would have been way cooler if it was called Paddington Goes to Prison.
Yeah, more people would have seen it.
Yeah.
Now people are seeing it. They're lucky it got buzz. It would have had automatic buzz if it was just called Paddington Goes to Prison. But after he is broken out of prison, the family goes to get him, and there's a guy, he's like a neighborhood watch guy, fucking loser, doesn't have any friends. He's lived there by himself for fucking ever. He's like, oh, where are you going? Because they're getting in the car, and they're like, we're going to save Paddington. And everyone on the street cheers. They all yell, yay! Except only like 6 people live on the street, so it's like this big moment, and it's like a relatively small group being like you can tell which people are whistling, which people are yelling what. They needed to add some people to that scene.
That's a weird thing too, like that curmudgeon guy who hates Paddington and wants to get him in jail.
Yeah.
He in the first movie, he like ends up saving Paddington.
Really?
Yeah. It's a weird thing. It's like this guy turned a corner in the first Paddington, and then in the second Paddington, he's like, nah, fuck that bear again.
That's the guy on the block who has a Confederate flag in his garage.
Yeah. And skeletons in his closet, like literal skeletons in his closet.
But yeah, the family's great. Sally Hawkins, I don't know if I'd ever seen Sally Hawkins anything. I'm sure I have, but this has just been like a very heavy year for Sally Hawkins.
I'm so glad that I saw Paddington before I saw Shape of Water.
Did you see Shape of Water?
No, but like this was. I'm
is
glad that
cool
my introduction was Paddington
because you see her and she's this cool chickadee in this movie. Now you get to see her naked a bunch.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah,
interesting.
Pretty big day for you. Gonna see some bubbles.
Can't bear to stand another work week? More Paddington talk on the way. Okay, let's
Hugh
talk about
Grant is the bad guy. He does a lot of talking to himself about his schemes. He likes to recap his schemes in the mirror, just in case any of his neighbors want to overhear that he is indeed up to something. After he steals the thing, he looks at himself in the mirror for like 9 minutes and is like, ooh, and they didn't suspect a thing from you. No, you outsmarted them. Blah, blah. And he's wearing ascots. And no, he wears cravats.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
A cravat is like it's like a silk scarf thing that you tie and you put it under your shirt.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? The thing that he was
like
wearing.
very European.
Yeah. It's it's like European sound makes it sound like tight and fashionable and stuff. And I suppose it is fashionable. Cravats, I think, are more like British.
Yeah. Okay.
British doesn't sound like it's of cool fashion. It might be of high fashion.
Is that what he was wearing when he was on the stage?
Probably. He
fair?
wore so many cravats.
Okay.
In fact, one of the times that he leaves his house, the family breaks into his house, and then as he's leaving, he's like, oh, I forgot a cravat. And he's like got his shirt way too unbuttoned. Clear, like he has a tattoo that says like this area should not be seen. There should be a cravat here. And he runs back and gets it, and then he catches the family. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But no, he wore a lot of cool colors. He wore like a lot of lime greens and a lot of pinks. And
he was your favorite villain. He was like a very flamboyant.
He was
villain.
Flamboyant. He didn't jump around enough.
He didn't like prance.
There was the scene on the train where they're going up and down. They're going up and down through the cabins of the train. I was like, this is where we fucking make our money. They're going to be, because they're running back and forth. Maybe he'll leap a bunch.
That scene was incredible.
There was like a lot of they were doing a lot of like the Breaking Bad shots of him. So like he would just like be standing there and walking slowly, and they would shoot it from the ground up. And here's this fucking badass with a fucking cravat on.
Yeah, the train scene at the end of the movie was fucking amazing. You don't expect an animated movie, especially like a live action animated movie, to have like an incredible action scene, but this was one that included The Matrix and a Jean-Claude Van Damme split.
Yeah,
on trains.
I hate to use a bad word here, a bad title, but it basically gave me every feeling that I thought I was going to get from Secret Life of Pets.
Okay.
I was like, exciting thing with an animal that should be for kids and adults. And that's exactly what this was.
It absolutely was.
There were only two other people in the theater. It was a woman with her son or her date. I just saw fucking Call Me By Your Name, so I don't know what's what
make
anymore.
Any classifications.
Yeah, I'm not judging. So it was just them, and I just hung in the back. And I remember thinking, I was like, this is great. No one else is in the theater. I can just hang here. Can maybe surf the web if things get boring. Shoot a couple text messages. Finally answer an email.
You didn't do that
in my
shit.
life. That phone didn't fucking move. I was glued to that shit. In fact, I had the run pee time I was going to use, and I just fucking cruised
Pissed
through
your pants?
it. Yeah. No, I didn't. I do a run pee time, a run pee break, even if I don't necessarily have to go that badly.
Okay.
I just like to get up and stretch my legs, and it's good to know there's a part of the movie that doesn't matter that you don't have to fucking see.
This movie is way more enjoyable, by the way, if you envision that it takes place in the Love Actually world, and Hugh Grant is not a washed-up actor. He's the washed-up prime minister who's trying to get some money to fund another campaign.
Yes, he's no longer able to
He's
prey on...
He's divorced his fat wife who's not actually fat.
Right. They got divorced because she said, did this make me look fat? And he said, well,
yes, every time.
If you ask anybody else in this movie, probably. And she said, well, what's that supposed to mean? And he's like, you've been there when they've called you fat to your face. She's like, are you calling me fat? He's like, no, I'm pointing out that it's odd that everyone always fucking calls you fat. I don't think that you're fat. And even if I do think you're fat, I love my fat wife. And then she said, hey, Buster. And then they got divorced.
I can do a lot better than you.
Yeah.
And left.
Yeah. And he was like, no, look at this Instagram post. And nope, too gone.
He was really
I miss
such
my
a
fat wife.
He was such a ham in this movie. It was like... It was the best.
Yeah.
He really, like, Nicole Kidman was the villain in the first one, and she, like, played the menacing villain.
Yeah.
And just, like, played this really, like, tough, nasty, kind of very devious woman. Like, Cruella de Vil-esque.
Boner alert.
And, like, she was trying to kill Paddington.
Nice.
And Hugh Grant, to his credit... He didn't want to kill Paddington.
He might have killed him.
He just wanted him out of the way.
Yes, yeah, he was a pesky little bear. What was I going to say? So, what happens in the first one? I have another big.
The first one's more
but
about.
I want to know a little backstory.
The first one is more about Paddington's transition to London life, like getting acclimated with humans and convincing the Brown family that he should be able to live with them.
Did they not want him initially?
Yeah, no, they don't. The father doesn't want him. The father's the one who's like really pushing back. So there's an earthquake in Peru where he comes from, and it like destroys his habitat. And so his Aunt Lucy sends him to London.
He is obsessed with Aunt Lucy.
I know. She sends him to London to find a family to live with. And so he's just like looking for a family. The Browns are like, hey, you can stay with us for one night and we'll help you find a new family. And then he eventually convinces them that he's like a great person.
Does Aunt Lucy tell Paddington when she sends him to London to find a family? And just so you know, this has never been done before. Nobody's ever. This
is unprecedented.
Yeah, it is very unreasonable for us to expect this is going to work. They're probably all going to be terrified.
That is like the bear version of humans being like, I'm going to go to Hollywood and just like become an actor.
Yeah,
and
like 90%
like,
chance
go to
you
London
get shot
and be a person.
Yeah. Also, imagine what it would be like if you meet this woman, fall in love, start a family, everything is great, you live in a great spot, got a cool little street, great neighbors, except for this one fucking guy with the Confederate flag in his garage, but everything is pretty good. You've got your life, you've found the people, you've even made the people that you want to be near you, and suddenly one of them suggests, what if you have a bear live with us? And you're like, no, no fucking way. And then
and you're
everyone
painting to be the villain.
And then everyone, your wife, your kids are all like, yo, we want to live with a bear. How much would that fuck you up? It would be like finding out that
especially because in the first one, like he fucks up a lot in the first one. He almost destroys their house.
Well, he's Zac Efron in Baywatch in Paddington 2. I can't imagine what he's like before he learns how to live with people.
Right. In the first night that he stays with them, he basically floods the entire house. And then like a week later, he almost sets it on fire. So like they gave him a very long leash.
Yeah, that would be the most jarring thing in the world. It would be like, I don't know, if like one of your friends said, like, was rapping along to a rap song and said the N-word, and you're like, hey, don't do that. And then like another one of your friends was like, oh, no, we say that.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, wait, you guys use that word? And they're like,
it's like, am I the crazy one here?
And you're like, I thought I fucking knew these people. What is it? Like, why doesn't he just divorce his family? He's like, or his wife, you're going to put our family and you're going to put our children in danger?
And like the thing is, like, he's like a risk analyst, so he does that for a living, and he basically does the math, and it's like, we're 4,000 times more likely to
die?
Have really terrible, catastrophic things happen to us with a bear living in our house. And honestly, those odds seem very low.
And what's the
4,000%?
And what's the payoff? Like, he's fine.
You have a bear child that everybody
like
talks
fine.
about behind your back?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the other people don't like Paddington. You love Paddington. Everyone else thinks you're the fucking bear family.
That's not true. In Paddington 1, he wins over the community by accidentally stopping a thief, a pickpocket, which is like basically like the Curb Your Enthusiasm episode of
with the shoelaces.
Yeah, where he trips on his shoelaces and takes down the drunk guy berating the flight attendant.
Oh yeah,
it's basically a much more drawn out version of that, where he tackles a pickpocket, and then everybody loves him.
But he doesn't mean to tackle the pickpocket?
No, he's actually trying to give a wallet to the pickpocket.
Okay, so
he's enabling a criminal.
So that should give everybody all they need to know. Like, thank God that worked out okay, but he accidentally
he could have really
fucked up
fucked
a person,
up,
and he didn't even mean to do that.
Also,
so how's he going to act to other people that he doesn't mean to?
Also, I'm pretty sure that pickpocket who he got sent to prison is in the second one in prison, and he's one of the guys that breaks out with them. So Paddington got him sent to prison, and then later helped him escape.
Interesting. It's so fucked up, but in the second one, the prison people befriend Paddington, and they help him break out of prison. They do a lot of good things. They're shown to have good hearts.
Yes.
And
I thought that was a little problematic.
At the end, I wish they did one of like at the end of that thing you do when it says like Guy and Faye married and did this, blah blah, and they say like what happened down the road.
It wasn't fairy tale stuff. It was like pretty realistic.
Right. Like what if at the end of Paddington 2 they had one of those things and it just said all of those prisoners were in there for sex crimes.
Oh God! Like Knuckles. Knuckles.
You just
later,
fucking rooted for someone who fucking touches kids.
Knuckles,
you fucking asshole.
Later brutally murdered an entire family of 4 and was sent back to death row.
Right. The Brown family were charged with accessory to murder.
Yes. Yeah, I thought that the whole prison thing was just a little bit problematic.
It was on a fine line that should not be presented in a kids movie.
Yes,
like
exactly.
If that were an adult movie, you'd be like, man, it got me thinking because there are good people in prison,
right?
Of course,
but like kids can possibly come away from Paddington 2 being like, hey, prison looks like a pretty good time.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
if you get to the right prison,
yes,
with the
exactly.
right people,
right? Just cross your fingers. Like A, they have to catch you. Who knows? B, you could end up in a good prison. Like whatever.
Like if you play your cards right, you can turn a prison into like a happy-go-lucky restaurant.
Yes.
Where there's like flowers everywhere.
A burgeoning culinary career.
Yeah. That was just a little bit off the mark for me.
Yeah.
But I think the overall message there is like, hey, there's good in everyone if you look for it. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Speaking of the justice system, I was reminded of how much I love British courtrooms.
They're very dramatic.
It's
basically like a stage.
They put the defendant in the middle of the room with a fucking like wall around him, and you just gotta fucking sit there. You are the center of attention. This is all about you. And in case you're thinking maybe it's in a good way, the wall's got little spikes on top of it.
It's way more of a
you can walk
theatrical
out of it,
production.
But, yeah.
I thought that the court scene where the part where he was like, "Hey, so Mr. Phoenix, but played by Hugh Grant, are you sure that this was Paddington? Let me remind you, your answer is 100% going to determine whether or not he goes to prison or not." And like that's coming from the judge,
right?
That's supposed to be your job, pal.
I know. In case you might want Paddington to go to prison for
here's your opportunity.
Here you go, buddy. It was great. One issue I had. There's a dramatic scene after the train scene.
There's a lot of this is way too much for like a movie that I absolutely love.
There's a lot of like here's a problem railing on it thing because I'm not railing on this movie. I have no problems with the movies. I've got some notes.
But that's kind of what we do. We overanalyze things.
Exactly. So towards the end of the train scene, Hugh Grant throws Paddington into a different train and hits the thing to make it so it goes off the rails.
Like detaches the car.
Detaches it first. And
you can't really do that as a person, can you?
I don't think so. You need to.
And Hugh Grant definitely wouldn't have the strength to make that happen.
And
maybe Knuckles. But.
And he just casually, with his hand, changes the course for the other one. You fucking break. Like, if you touch anything going at that speed.
On a speeding train?
Yeah,
just so
you touch a piece of paper, it's going to fucking take your arm off. So, yeah, he just does that, and it's fine. And Paddington hits the end of the tracks and goes into the water. The whole thing's in there, and then Sally Hawkins jumps in to save him. She's practiced swimming in the shape of water. And the door is locked, so he's stuck in the cabin, and they can open it a decent amount, but not all the way. And they're looking at each other, realizing, well, Paddington's going to die. That's one of two options he has. He has die or just swim through that because it's definitely open enough, and they just completely overlook that.
I don't think so. I don't think it was open enough.
It's like, it's not all. I can't. I might maybe nudge up against the wood a little bit if I try to get out. Just fucking get out, man.
I don't think you can hold it against the movie because, like, one of the most highly acclaimed movies of all time, The Titanic, the crux of that movie was a scene where there was clearly fucking room for two people on that door.
Oh, yeah.
And Rose was just like, nah, I'm good. I need my space.
I think, though, if I were Jack, like, if you're that close to dying, I'd for sure be the person that would just be like, all right, I'll just die. If you're that close.
Right. He kind of just, like, he just gave up.
Yeah.
But, like,
good on you, Jack.
From the beginning, Rose should have been like, hey, let's just see if this works.
Rose has gotten everything that she wants, though. She's had money. She's been paid.
Mm-hmm.
Those checks fucking clear, my friend. And then she
got that D.
And then she gets to have that good sex with the poor guy. Checks still clearing. Mom's gonna forgive her.
And then she's got an out. No strings attached.
Totally. And
she
gets to make him a hero. She gets to say, "Hey, you'll never guess what the love of my life." And then she makes a little face. She makes the Rihanna like tosses her eyes up for a second, like, "Hey, you won't believe what the love of my life did to save me."
She saw a note and she
Jordan,
took
I think
his
name was. I don't know.
We'll circle back to that later, but we got to take a quick little break, and then when we come back, more Paddington talk. So stay with us, folks. One of the most impressive things about this movie is the fact that Paddington is like such a likable character and like so polite. That's his MO. Like, he is the most polite.
He's a polished bear.
Has the best intentions in every possible scene. He is the light of everyone's life, but it's not obnoxious and it's not overdone where, like, to the point where us as adults are like, ugh, this is so sappy and gross. To do that, they found, like, the perfect sweet spot, I think.
Yeah, but that's because we're good people. People around that town talk shit about Paddington. They're like, oh, he's good. Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. I fucked that up. do something right, you fucking idiot. You don't think that the fucking Irish people in that town shit all over Paddington every chance they get?
I think all the Irish people in that town are in prison, as evidenced by Mr. Gleason.
Yes, for violent sex crimes.
But like Paddington is so gentle and fucking adorable, and it's just not at all nauseating for like a skeptic like me. Way to go, guys!
Well, because he's a bear. Also, I mean, he is
right. If that was a child, I'd be like, ugh, get this fucking person out of my face.
He is quite adorable.
Did you know that
he wears his hat indoors though? Problematic.
It's fine.
Rude.
Did you know that Paddington was originally supposed to be voiced by Colin Firth?
That makes very much sense.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
But I think that
I could see like that they would go
ultimately, it was way better off being like a younger person.
Who was it? Yeah, was it just
I think his name's Ben Miller.
So it might as well just be the fucking kid
unknown.
from the most recent Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
How come that didn't get any buzz?
I think it did.
That was a good movie.
But like, it's one of 90,000 Marvel movies that came out last year. So
it's
on to the next one.
It's marvelous.
Marvel cakes.
It's marvelous. I'm about to eat. I'm about to drink some wine.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go to dinner, and then next week I'm gonna be traveling. So I can't do the paleo thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm just gonna start eating some fucking cake real soon.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Can't talk about that. Doesn't
shows how to
Paddington.
make the marmalade, and when they were cooking, I was concerned, or when they were baking it, I was concerned that they were gonna lie to the fucking kids about what jelly is, because they cut up the oranges and they peel them. They get all the they get all the zest, everything they need.
Way too many fresh ingredients for
Put
a
it
prison.
in there, and then he says, "Now add some sugar." And he takes like a big scoop of sugar, puts it in, and he's like, 2 more things of sugar. And he puts it in, and he's like, just dump in the fucking thing of sugar. And I was going to be really concerned, because as I was thinking it as they were making it, I'm like, they really about to show these kids, hey, take after this fucking guy eating all the refined sugar? And they did it. They just put in a shitload of sugar. Made me want marmalade.
I don't even know if I've had a lot of experiences with marmalade.
It's jelly. It's jam.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What the fuck's a big deal?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They like his. You know what? Have you ever had orange jelly jam?
I think so, yeah.
It's delicious.
Great. Yeah,
it's
great.
so fucking good, and nobody... I don't... The off-the-beaten-path flavors are actually the common fruits with jelly, I'm just realizing.
What do you mean?
Like, the common jellies are like raspberry, which you don't eat raspberries every day. Strawberries are very common.
Yeah,
Grapes are common, I guess.
You're wrong.
But like apple... No, I'm saying like apples and oranges, which are the 2 most common
Not
things.
High up on the jelly charts.
But whenever you go to like fucking Friendlies or anything like that, they've got apple jelly for some reason. Apple jelly stinks.
Yeah,
but
why would you
orange
ever pick
jelly
that?
is so good. I'm about to go eat some orange jelly.
What did you think of the band that frequently showed up in this movie?
What was the band?
Remember, just like there would be music playing, and then Paddington would be walking down the street, and then you would just see like a band set up in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Like very out of place.
Yeah.
That's something that they carried over from the first one. There's a lot of carryovers from the first.
Ooh, some Easter eggs for the good folks.
In the second one,
diehards.
remember the guy who, when Hugh Grant was in his nun costume,
Yep.
and the security guard was like, that was the prettiest nun that I've ever seen.
What the fuck was that guy's problem?
So in the first one, the dad, Mr. Brown, dresses up as a woman, a cleaning lady. Does this is probably my least favorite part of the first one. I mean, they did the old like, he dressed up as a woman gag.
Right, so that's the thing. Like, I'm watching that, and I was like, oh, it's real funny, movie makers. The joke is that he was looking like a woman.
Oh, they doubled down on that. The first one was...
Fuck's your problem,
the
security
first one
guard?
was way more like obnoxious.
Live and let live, asshole.
But in the first one, that same security guard was infatuated with Mr. Brown, and he was clearly a man.
He's that security guard is married, and he talks about like everybody he sees being like, oh man, that's the most beautiful person I've seen, and you're like, oh yeah, she's really pretty, and he's like, oh man, what I'd give to do that,
to be single again,
and then and you're like, hey, don't say that shit. We all know Angela. She's one of our friends, and he's like, oh no, I love Angela. It's fine. And
I don't know whether the joke is that this guy is
He's
just like,
attracted to men dressing like women.
I don't know if I can't tell if the joke is like that guy's just like really fucking stupid and bad at his job and bad at being observational.
Yeah.
Or if it's like that guy is gay.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know it, or just like is hiding it.
Yeah. I don't know. I was looking at that. I was giving that kid a long, hard look, being like, "You better not be laughing at this homophobia." And the mother said, "Will you stop looking at my date?" Oh, callback humor.
It would have been great if the kid laughed and you just stood up in the theater and you're like, "What the fuck you laughing about?"
What's your problem, asshole? Hey, no.
I want to hear why he's laughing. I want to hear why it's funny.
Question. What's your problem, asshole? Was a question. I intend to hear an answer. What is it? What is it?
The mom tries to butt in. Yeah, I'll get to you next. How are you raising your kids?
You're just trying to watch the movie here? Oh, yeah. Fuck you, dude. Fucking bro. Oh, yeah. Go, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, let's get a fucking light beer after this, you fucking tool. Asshole. Put down that pop-up book. More Paddington talk starts now.
Did you stick around for the credits? Because I heard that there's a mid-scene credits.
There's a judge thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I forget what it was already.
I've seen the movie twice, and I missed both of them.
Wait, you saw Paddington 2 again?
Yep.
Why?
Because it's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good move. It's the happy death day of animal movies.
I'm going to see it a third time.
Maybe. Yeah, why not? It's what is it nominated for? It's nominated for Best Animated Picture, or did it miss the cutoff?
It missed the cutoff. It
Okay.
just came out.
Oh, did it just come out?
Yeah.
Okay. What is nominated? Oh, Boss Baby's up for.
Boss Baby's up for it. Coco. And I don't know what else.
I don't know if I'd like to get to those if they're easy to see, but I think that we're gonna.
I want to see what Boss Baby's all about. To be honest with you.
I like Alec Baldwin. Are we still allowed to like Alec Baldwin?
Yeah, I think so.
He his thing was just
like
he screamed at his kid.
Yeah,
that's fucking nothing.
He's an asshole for sure.
Yeah.
But if this year saw us anything,
right,
much bigger assholes in Hollywood to worry about.
Right. It's like the scale is like asshole to your kid, you're the salt of the earth. If you're sexually selfish, then you're the worst person in the world. And if you're an actual sexual predator, then
you're gay.
Holy fucking right. Then you better say you're gay, and you're never going to act again.
Yes.
Yeah. What notes do you have? I wrote down the prisoners were the good guys. Know what they all did? That's right. They fucking murdered people.
I don't think it was ever revealed that they murdered people. But Knuckles, I think, if I had to guess, if anybody was in there for murder, it was Knuckles.
Knuckles was like a vehicular manslaughter thing.
While drunk?
No, not while drunk. Like maybe like a road rage situation.
I think it was while drunk.
Knuckles was a guy who was like troubled in his life.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they learned to fly.
Oh yeah.
That was a weird part.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Is it? You said it could be set in the same world as Love Actually. Maybe it's set in the same world as fucking Peter Pan.
No, but like they flew in an airplane. They didn't fly away, just like jump off a bridge and fly away.
I did text for a minute and missed the flying.
No, they got into an airplane. Remember when they did the old prison breakout?
Yep.
And like Paddington was like, "Hey guys, where you going?" And they were like,
right.
"We're getting out of here. We're going to Mexico or whatever it was."
And he's like, "I'm not doing that."
Yeah.
That sounds like you guys are for sure going to get killed or caught. I'm not doing that. And they were like, "But they'll catch you." And he was like, "I'm just going to live life normally and I'm not going to get caught even though I'm a bear." And he was fine. Loved when he was hiding in a trash can. He was pretending to be a trash can and a cop took a bite of a donut and then threw out the rest of the donut. Yeah, fucking right. And Paddington stinks at being a trash can and says, "Thank you."
He says, "Thank you." And the cop's like, "Wait a minute, that trash can's talking." And then Paddington's response is, "Don't worry about it, Mr. Officer. I'm just a trash can." And the officer's response to that is, "Well, okay."
Yeah.
The police and the judicial system in
and
London,
the judge, yeah.
absolute joke.
Which it gives a lot of explanation as to why you needed a fucking like random ass family to solve a crime because there's no way they were going to catch what was a pretty open and shut case against Hugh Grant. There was no way that the cops were going to catch him and that judge was going to indict him. Do they have juries in in London?
I don't think so. I just
don't know.
imagine the judge being like very dramatic and just being like guilty.
Yeah.
'Cause they don't need juries because that just kind of ruins the theater.
Do they have gavels in?
Definitely.
Yeah, they have the cool hair things going on.
Oh yeah, I bet the British invented gavels.
Yeah, they have cool. The robes they wear are way fucking cooler than here. Like if you're like a lawyer, you like dress up in some really cool garb.
Did you notice that Hugh Grant was very, very close to getting all that treasure, and
Yes.
those riches, and like they stop him, but Paddington and the Browns never had any interest.
Yeah,
in that
evidence.
treasure.
They go into evidence.
You think so?
I don't know if that system has evidence.
I mean, I would not trust the judicial system to handle anything.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was interesting that they all saw that like the pop-up book led to a bunch of clues and brought them to treasure that was worth a lot of money, and they showed absolutely no interest in it.
Also, the treasure is inside of a carnival attraction, and if you press the right buttons, this like wooden thing opens up, and then there's a bunch of treasure inside.
Mm-hmm.
And Hugh Grant sees it, and he's very excited. It opens up, and he's like, "Bam! There's my treasure." And then Paddington comes in and closes it, and he's like, "No!"
No, what happens is Hugh Grant gets like spooked or something, and he accidentally hits a key.
Oh, right, yes,
And
yeah,
so,
yeah.
like, he hits the wrong key and it closes back up, which
Right.
I thought that was cool. Like,
Yeah.
to play music to open it,
Yeah.
and then if you hit like one wrong key, boom, gone forever.
Yeah, but again, it was like the thing when Paddington's stuck in the thing and he could have just tried to swim out and he didn't. Like, well, now Hugh Grant knows where it's located in that thing, and he can just get a fucking axe, and then he gets all that treasure. Like, all he needs is to just make sure that he has access to that thing, which he still does. So,
But he's in prison for 10 years.
does he get 10 years?
10 years, man.
10 years.
I feel like every sentence is 10 years.
Over there?
Well, I guess that makes sense because they sentenced. Because I say that because they sentenced Paddington to 10 years, and then they sentenced Hugh Grant to 10 years. But Paddington was accused of committing the crime that Hugh Grant actually committed, so it makes sense that they serve the same sentence. But I feel like
Yes.
Hugh Grant should have extra charges because he tried to murder Paddington, basically.
And he got 10 years.
And-
Where the only thing that was stolen was a pop-up book. It was like a very non-important thing. And
But it was worth a lot.
was it?
Yeah.
Was it worth a lot?
Remember, because that's why Paddington had to do all those odd jobs at the beginning, like being a barbershop and washing windows and stuff like that, because the book
he was buying
expensive.
that for his aunt.
Right.
He goes on and on about his aunt, man. Who is it that tells him to shut the fuck up about his aunt? Is it Knuckles?
Yeah, it's right. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, your aunt's an idiot.
Yeah. What makes them like him? What makes the prisoners like Paddington?
The marmalade.
That's right. Yeah, he's got some marmalade in there. There's no way that we're not going to get some orange marmalade or some orange
We should
jelly
have done it
and
for
do
this
some
podcast.
toast. That sounds like a good fucking breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How much time have we done so far?
We're about close to 50 minutes.
Ah.
You want to just like play like 12 minutes of jazz music and just finish out the Paddington Power Hour?
No. Well, what can we do with Paddington? We can... I wanted to say this at some point. You can't spell podcasting without Paddington.
Can you?
Well, it'll take about 10 minutes for us to figure that out.
Yeah, it's
So-
true. What do you think Paddington 3 is gonna be?
Paddington. It's called Paddington Freed.
Paddington Freed?
Yes.
Like 50 Shades?
Yes. I saw.
Imagine if they did like a 50 Shades with
Bears
Paddington.
need love too.
What about if they did that crossover with Paddington and Ted?
Oh God, I would hate that.
I know.
Because Ted fucking sucks.
But it would be like
And Ted
it would
probably
be,
doesn't even know what to do with it. Ted talks such a fucking big game that you're like, man, I know that everyone who's been with Ted is like, ugh.
Yeah, and I mean he hangs out with Mark Wahlberg, so like
Yeah.
that is the biggest stench that you can have stuck to you.
Yeah.
But what if the movie is like, hey, Paddington teaches Ted how to be a decent human?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I like and that's such a good accent, and then such a bad accent.
It would be very jarring.
That would be because hearing Ted's accent against other people from Boston, you're like, ugh, God, his accent sucks. But putting it against the best, it's like putting like some kind of white teeth next to the whitest thing in the world, and then taking some really yellow teeth and putting it next to the whitest thing in the world.
Yeah, I mean Paddington's voice is so soothing.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
just the whole way that they package that character is like so gentle, so perfect. I guess like one thing that we can talk about is like the message of the movie, which I don't like to get that mushy and that deep, but like an awesome message for kids, for a kids movie.
Give criminals, convicts a chance,
a second chance.
Yeah.
No,
once they've broken the law again and broken out of prison, give them a chance.
Yes. No, like I feel like they did it in like obviously the message is like, hey, there's good in everyone, and just like be polite to people, be nice, and like good things will happen to you, and people will realize the good in you. But like it wasn't done in a preachy manner at all.
No, yeah, it was a very well executed movie.
Even like the neighborhood that Paddington lives in, there's like an Indian guy, there's black people, and like it's a very multicultural melting pot. And like they don't call attention to that.
Yeah, it's
just like very subtle and not preachy, and I appreciate that, especially from a kids movie. Like they did a decent job, like being like, hey, the kids might be able to figure this out on their own.
You know what else is cool? That was a kids movie that adults can enjoy, and they didn't do the thing because, like with Shrek and stuff like that, they do overkill with letting you know that this is one for the whole family. Yeah. That means you parents, sex jokes. Like this, they didn't need to say it. You know,
right? There's no direct addressing their jokes.
You'll like this, yeah. You know,
right?
I hate that we have to do a little bit of housekeeping because when this airs, this will be Monday. The Grammys will have happened, and our official brunch stance this year is
fuck the Grammys.
Fuck the Grammys, not necessarily because of fuck the Academy and everything. Fuck that they moved it up. I don't like that they moved it up this year. They didn't want to compete with the Olympics, which I suppose makes sense, but there was just a lot of...
I just don't care.
There was just like a lot of bad juju this year, and I don't like the way that like Lorde isn't going because I don't know why she's not going, but like people are just being fucking uppity this year, and
also it was just a bad year for music. I know we said that earlier. Like,
yeah,
there's nothing that is nice, nothing that excited me this past year about music.
If you're sitting out the Grammys for any reason other than boycotting them for giving Adele Album of the Year over Beyonce, then I'm like, just fucking relax, okay? So, and I don't think either of us will have seen the Grammys because...
Nope, I'm going to be in Tampa.
Yeah, and that's the night that I get to yap, as they call it.
On the TV?
Yeah.
On the tube, as they would say?
No, we don't have to do anything on Sunday, so I'm going to go to dinner.
Ooh.
And then I'm probably just going to see what Minneapolis is all about while everyone's inside watching the Grammys, so I'll have the whole city to myself. Uh-oh, what are we telling you to do? Here's some Paddington talk backwards.